How do you feel? Not good.
Sophisticated or
How do you feel? Not
disbestitud
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you feel angry? Sad?
and
Tense? No. I feel sick.
nay,
I have a bad headache.
disbest. Okay,
Have you felt sick all day?
disbestitud or
Yes, I have. Did you feel sick yesterday?
disbest. Okay,
No, not good. I only felt sick last week.
disbest. Okay,
And I felt sick today. I feel sick. 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 It's by 5 o'clock. I'll have to work overtime tonight. And I won't pay you. 55. I feel sick. Nobody this work. I feel sick. That's your problem. I want it done.
disbestitud or
Hey, come on, hurry up. Don't take all day. I'm working as fast as I can. Well, if you don't start by 5 o'clock, you'll have to work overtime tonight. And I won't pay you. 55. That's your problem. I want it done.
You always give me and the other employees too much work, and you never pay us overtime. And we don't make much money here anyway. They all want to quit.
Don't pay my heart. Get back to work.
I'm sorry, I quit. I'm going to find another job. Yes, I will. I quit jobs before and found better ones. One time, I quit a job paid $5 an hour and found one paid $5.75 an hour with a nicer boss. So I know I can do it.
Well, I can't stop you. Watch it with you. Clear out. Now. I feel sick.
Russia, Germany, Romania, they can have all the democracy they want. Yeah, they can have a big democracy. Walk right through We ain't got the bomb. So, dang, John Wayne's not dead. He's frozen. And as soon as we find a cure for cancer, we're gonna throw him into the He's
I feel sick.
everybody. Maybe in the subconscious. Maybe in the liver. Maybe in the maybe in the we don't know. I'm just a regular Joe with a regular job. I'm an asshole.
I feel sick.
I'd like to sing a song about the American dream. About me. About you. About the way our American hearts beat way down at the bottom of each of us. About that special feeling we get in the cockles of our hearts. Maybe below the cockles. Maybe in the subcockles. Maybe in the liver.
I feel sick.
About the way our American hearts beat way down at the bottom of each of us. About that special feeling we get in the cockles of our hearts.
I feel sick.
Yeah. I drive really slow in the ultra fast lane while people behind me are going insane.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you feel angry? Sad? Tense? No. I feel sick. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you feel angry? Sad? Tense? No.
You really are an asshole. Just shut up and sing the song, pal. I'd like to see about the way our American hearts beat. Yeah, that's what I'm interested in. About that special feeling you get hot. Maybe below the knees, maybe in the subcontinent. Maybe like suburban eyes. I got an average. personal. Automatically, he put them aside for good.
$5. Tell me something.
A special world, with its own peculiar problems, difficulties, rewards, and professional preoccupations.
What you really need is me out here pushing as an idea. I mean, after all, piano went out of fashion in the turn of the century. What you gotta think of nowadays, a mid-20th century piano, something with all these extras. How to describe garbage disposal? Well, actually, what I would like is the small. And I often wondered if this couldn't go back to those days. We had it in Canada. And I became so used to being alone in the studio, which we were recording, and
Here he works on the piano he favors above all others for practicing. The 70-year-old Chickering, with a resonant, harpsichord-like quality, recalling the instruments of the time of Bach.
Sometimes in life, people can be a little difficult.
the factory now.
Well, I'd say they can be a little obnoxious, selfish,
But
just downright unpleasant. Worst of all, they don't
he was a
even
very
know it.
shy person.
But a startling new discovery has shed light on why people must act this way. They are sick. They are assholes. A scarcely known condition seems to have been infecting our communities, families, and friends. We see it more and more every day, at work, at school, at home. Your ex-wife probably has it. Chronic assholism syndrome, or as it's commonly known, assholism. A condition that, if things continue this way, will mean the end of civilized society as we know it. But fret not, for we have our best man here to wipe up the mess these arseholes make.
It's sleepy.
What do you think?
That's gorgeous.
It's wild, but the only thing is I suspect it could be maybe a notch faster than the basic tempo. Not good. That is the main thing. You want to try? No, I want to hear.
I feel sick.
But the main thing is that it really doesn't have any change of character at all. It's sort of it's gorgeous. It's such fun. I don't know if you can live with it. Let's hear two. Slide. Here two. Sometimes in life, people can be a little difficult. You might say they can be a little obnoxious, selfish, or even just downright unpleasant. Worst of all, they don't even know it. But a startling new discovery has shed light on why people must act this way. They are sick. They are assholes. A scarcely known condition seems to have been infecting our communities, families, and friends. We see it more and more every day, at work, at school, at home. Your ex-wife probably has it. Chronic assholism syndrome, or, as it's commonly known, assholism. A condition that, if things fret not, we have our best man here to wipe up the mess these assholes make.
In a happy barnyard some years ago, a seemingly unimportant event occurred which was destined to vitally affect the future of that little world. Mr. and Mrs. Duck were expecting.
He's got something to say.
I'm willing to sit.
I'm afraid. I heard a pretty good story last night. That is not why we're sitting here. He's got something to say.
I'm willing to sit for an hour.
Great.
And
I
so
heard a pretty good
time
story
passed.
last night. That is not why we're sitting.
But not so fast.
All right, then you tell me.
All right.
What are we
Time
sitting
does
for?
fly, don't it, Johnny?
I don't know, maybe no reason.
Time passed. The bad egg
This
grew
kid's been
too
kicked
much
around all
to
over his life.
and with artistic aspirations
Mother
dreamed
guesses
of
he
brush
was not
and palette,
for a year and a half in
but
the
ended up with only
His father was
brush.
serving a jail term for war. That's not a very happy
His artistic efforts spurred he soon turned
wild,
to
angry
other
kid that's all he's ever been, and he's no hard to do. They start him by somebody once a day, every day. He's had a pretty miserable life. I just think we are enough cards, that's all. I don't mind telling you this, mister. We don't know much. He got a mere trial, didn't he? Put me in jail. He's lucky he got it. You know what I mean? Look, we're all grown-ups in here. We heard the facts, didn't we? You're not going to tell me we're supposed to believe this kid knowing what he is. Listen, I've lived among them.
Assholism syndrome, or, as it's commonly known,
I mean, they're born liars.
Only ridiculous.
Well, listen.
Do you think you were born with a monopoly on the truth? I think certain things should be pointed out.
but fret not, we have our best
Come on, we
man
have a job to do now.
to
Let's
wipe
do it.
up the mess these assholes make.
Yes, boss. It's a product I work on at the agency. Breakfast with a building bounce. I wrote that line. Very catchy. Yeah. Say, do you mind? Oh, I'm sorry. I have this habit of doodling. Keeps me thinking clearly. Now, we have all this work to do. There's no point staying here forever. Okay. Now, perhaps if the gentleman down there is disagreeing with us, well, perhaps you could tell us why. You know, let us know what you're thinking, and we might be able to show you where you're mixed up.
Well, look, maybe this is an idea. Now, I haven't given it much thought, but it seems to me that it's up to the group of us to convince this gentleman that he's wrong and we're right. Now, maybe if we each took a couple of minutes just to... Well, it was just a quick idea.
No. That's a good one. Suppose we go once around the table. I guess you're first.
Well, it's hard to put into words. I just think he's guilty. I thought it was obvious from the word go. Nobody proved otherwise.
Nobody has to prove otherwise. The burden of proof's on the prosecution. The defendant doesn't even have to open his mouth. That's in the Constitution.
Oh, well, sure, I know that. What I meant was, well, I just think he's guilty. I mean, somebody saw him do it.
Okay, here's what I think, and I have no personal feelings about this. I just want to talk about facts. Number one, the old man lived downstairs under the room where the killing took place. At 10 minutes after 12 on the night of the killing, he heard loud noises. Said it sounded like a fight. And he heard the kid yell out, "I'm going to kill you." A second later, he heard a body hit the floor. Ran to the door, opened it up, saw the kid running down the stairs and out of the house. Called the police. They came in, found the old man with a knife in his chest. The coroner fixed the time of death around midnight. Now, these are facts. You can't refute facts. The kid is guilty. I'm just as sentimental as the next fella. I know he's only 18, but he's still got to pay for what he did.
I'm with you. Okay, you finished?
Yeah, right, next.
It was obvious, to me anyway, that the boy's entire story was flimsy. He claimed he was at the movies during the time of the killing, and yet 1 hour later, he couldn't remember the names of the films he saw or who played in them.
That's right.
And no one saw him going in or out of the theater.
Listen, what about the woman across the street? If her testimony don't prove it, nothing does. That's right. She was the one who actually saw the killing.
Now, fellas, please, let's go on over to here, huh?
Just a minute. Here's a woman who's lying in bed. She can't sleep. She's dying with the heat. You know what I mean? Anyway, she looks out the window, and right across the street, she sees the kid stick the knife into his father. The time is 12:10 on the nose. Everything fits. Look, she's known the kid all his life. His window was right opposite hers across the L tracks, and she swore she saw him do it.
Through the windows of a passing L
Mixed up?
train.
Look all right to me. All the red books over there, all the blue books over there.
Night, you
You don't classify books by the cover. Oh, yes, it's the architect's idea. He said it looked neater.
Well, neater maybe, but it doesn't make it easy to find the book you want, does it?
Ah, well, maybe I can help you. So what book exactly did you want?
Well, it's called The Twisted Spur by E.M. Haggerty.
Right, Haggerty. Haggerty. Hennessy, Tennessee. Haggerty. There he is, Haggerty. Spur Twisted D. Haggerty, E.M.
Now, can I pass it?
It's a green book. Right there with all the green books.
There are thousands of green books there. I mean,
Oh, well, naturally, they are subdivided.
oh, good.
All the big books are on the bottom, all the little books on the top.
Oh, the big books on the bottom, the little books on the top.
Yes, what are you, a little one or a big one?
I don't know, do I?
You're not being very helpful, are you, sir?
I'm not being very helpful. How are we supposed to find books if you file them like that?
Well, I've never had any trouble. Only this very morning, I found just the book I wanted. Just like that.
What was that?
Big red book.
Look, I am not interested in the size or the colour.
Well, fortunately, upstairs we have duplicates of all these books that are down here, all up on the second floor.
Not classified by size and colour.
Not classified by size.
Then perhaps you can tell me where, on the second floor, I can find the Twisted Spur.
Western is
Part of the message about the boy. Prosecuting attorney said the same time. Very strong boy. This boy's been hit so many times in his life that violence is
Is it a thick Western or a thin Western?
Well, I don't know, do I?
Well, all the thin Westerns are on the right-hand side, as you like to say. Over on the left-hand side.
I don't believe this. Thick, green, thin, thick. I mean, it's balmy. It's stupid.
What? No one else has ever complained.
Well, I'm complaining. Will you please finally tell me
Billy?
about a copy?
Billy, wasn't that the first time you tried to commit suicide?
Oh, my God.
Yes, Mr. Cheswick?
Miss Ratchet, I'd like to ask you a question, please.
Wasn't that the first time you tried to commit suicide? Wasn't that the first time you tried to commit suicide? Billy? Wasn't that the first time you tried to commit suicide? Billy? Wasn't that the first time you tried to commit suicide?
Oh, my God.
Yes, Mr. Cheswick?
Miss Ratchet, I'd like to ask you a question, please.
Go ahead.
I'm going to start with my birth through the years that I grew up
Billy
through
doesn't feel like,
segregated times, and I think
talking.
that's what's going to interest you more, although the rest
why
of
are
it is
you
kind of
pressing
interesting
him?
too. But it's my understanding that you really would like to hear what it was like growing up during segregated times. Looking out over the audience, there aren't very many of you who grew up during those times, so you don't know
Wasn't
what I'm
that the
talking
first
about,
time
and you
you
have
tried
no
to commit
idea
suicide?
what we had to go through. And then during those times, you would not have made any difference because that's what you were doing.
You know, I have to say,
When you grow up during segregated times, there were things that you could and could not do because of the color of your skin. And as a child, my parents made sure that I knew the rules, such as when you rode the public bus, you made sure you moved that little thing that had a sign on it that said colored patrons only. You made sure that that was in front of you wherever you were sitting on the bus. Also, when you went to certain cafeterias, there was an area where you had to sit that said colored, which made no sense to me because we come in all colors anyhow. But anyhow, and it didn't make any sense to me then. But there were also times when we rode the interstate traveling on interstate buses that we couldn't sit in certain areas on the Greyhound bus, Trailways buses, or whatever mode of transportation there was.
By the Rolling Stones.
We also had, when you go to certain stores, department stores, they wouldn't allow black women to try on the dresses that they were purchasing. So you can understand that there were a lot of don'ts for black people back in the times when I was growing up.
I got tired of explaining
my
it, so
growing
I
up
stopped
stages,
singing
of
it
course,
for a
was from
long
1941
time.
until I became a teenager and became a pregnant mother, but we'll get to that later. Also, there were places where you would go and there were two water fountains. One said colored and one said white. You had to drink from the one that said colored. Most of the times it didn't work, so if you were thirsty, you were out of luck. If you went to the fountain that didn't work that said colored. Oftentimes, they say hindsight is 20/20. It makes me wonder, did they turn it off on purpose because they really didn't want us in there to begin with? But that's how I grew up. In later years, when I became a person in the entertainment business, traveling across the country with various bands, back then we didn't have buses. We would pile everything into a station wagon, including the clothing, the instruments, and us. And we would travel across the country to various cities to perform. And we couldn't check into hotels, so any of the major hotels. So when we got to those various cities, the promoters made sure that there was someone who had a house, if we had to stay overnight, that had a house that would let us use their rooms to spend the night until we travel the next day. Those are the conditions that we traveled under back then. There were a couple occasions when I was performing and we had traveled all day going to Mississippi, playing the University of Mississippi. We were doing, in fact, we didn't know what it was going to be when we got there, but all I knew I had to sing when I got there. And this was in 1964. And we arrived about 3 o'clock that afternoon. And the young lady didn't ask me who I was. She just showed me where the colored people were going to get dressed. And so later on that day, she would come back and she says, "Is Irma Thomas coming?" I said, "Oh, she's coming. She'll be here in a little while." So we went through that scenario for about 3 or 4 times. And performance time was for 7 o'clock that evening. So about, I'd say, 6:30, she came back. And she says, "Irma Thomas hasn't gotten here yet. When is she going to show up?" I said, "You've been talking to her all afternoon." I said, "Does it make a difference?" She said, "Oh, no, I thought you were white." I said, "Well, does it make any difference now that I'm here?" I said, "I'm here and I'm not white, so do you want me to perform or not?" She said, "Oh, no, it's okay. I just thought you were white." And the reason for that, I didn't get angry with her. The reason for that, and I don't know how many of you have done your homework on music industry, but up until 67 or 68, most black musicians who had records out and had albums out did not have their pictures on the front. So consequently, we had 5 or 6 drifter groups. We had 3 or 4 different platter groups. We had several different, whoever the popular star was, if someone could sound like them and sing like them, they were out there making money off of that person's name. So I didn't get angry with her because there was no way for her to know what I looked like until I got there. And the song that was the hit during that time was called "I Wish Someone Would Care," and boy, did we. But that was the situation with me growing up. Now, the incidents that I had that I thought were rather serious prior to that one was I was playing a club in Mansoura, Louisiana. And I don't know how many of you have had that opportunity to travel from New Orleans to Mansoura on Highway 1 with all those other little connecting highways that goes through there. It's not really an easy drive. So when you get there, you're tired. And so there was a little, I say 6-room motel there that black people could use. And so that's where we would stay until time to go to the main club to perform. Well, over the years of doing that particular club, the guy finally put a room there for us. But on the first couple of occasions that I was there, about the third time we had played the club called Sheps in Mansoura, during the show that I was performing, one of the patrons decided to yell up to me, "Sing, nigga!" And I turned around and told the band, I said, "Y'all stop playing." I said, because all of us are wound up in jail because I'm not singing another note until I get an apology. So the club owner said, "What's the matter, Irma? You're not singing." I said, "Well, one of your patrons decided to call me a nigga." And I said, "I know I don't look like a nigga because you can't tie a horse to me." And he said, "Well, I'll make sure that person don't." I said, "No, you find him and you get him out of here now, or I will not sing another note." That was the only incident that I came into that made me realize that no matter how popular you are, no matter how much money you are, they're going to always remind you that you're a black. And that's what we had to live with. We had to travel with our own tools in the car. And I learned to travel with most female items. But along with that, I had toilet paper in the car because you weren't always able to stop in the restrooms at the various service stations. You could buy their gas, but you couldn't use their bathrooms. So these are the kind of conditions that we traveled on the back from the time I got into show business, which was in the late 50s, all the way up until segregation really became unsegregated, and we were able to use the facilities of all the restaurants and various hotels. Today, up now, I still have great respect for the Holiday Inn, mainly because in the very beginning of segregation, when they were fighting for civil rights and for black people to be able to check in various hotels and get a decent room, they, to my knowledge, was the very first hotel that I, as an entertainer, was able to check in and not be put in the back of the hotel because of my color. So I have great respect for the Holiday Inn because of that. But those are the incidents that I had to incur during the time of traveling on this up and down the South, particularly in the South, because, you know, on one occasion we were even followed by the police because they thought we were there for something else, I don't know. So when they finally decided to ask us what we were doing, we told them where we were on our way to, and they said, "Oh, go ahead on." So these are the things that I had to endure. But, you know, when you look at it, hindsight's 2020, they were doing their job, and we were trying to do our job, but we got penalized just because of the color of our skin. And it's funny because you would think after all of that I would have a hatred for white people, but I don't. Because the neighborhood that I grew up on at 1718 Felicity Street was a mixed neighborhood. And it was mixed. When I say mixed, it was a mixed neighborhood. Can you hear me? My mic just decided to go off. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Okay, I have something. It was a mixed neighborhood because the kids, the grocery store owner who was on the corner had about 4 or 5 kids, and there was another grocery store around the corner from where we lived had 4 or 5 kids, and we all played hopscotch, jumped over, made dolls out of Coca-Cola bottles and stuff like that. So we really didn't know. It didn't make any difference to us whether you were black or white. We were children playing together. So as we grew up, we didn't have any animosity because we knew we were living under rules that we had to live under until we got to be grown. So those were my experiences in the early stages of the civil rights movement. I wasn't a joiner of the civil rights movement because early in my career, before I had a career, early in my childhood, growing up, I was a teenage mother. So being a teenage mom, you don't put yourself in a position to where you can't take care of your children. So I wasn't one of those who sat in at the counters or got on the buses when they weren't supposed to. I didn't do anything to break the law because I was first of all scared of jail. And I knew I had children to take care of, so I wouldn't put myself in that position if my mom only had me. And I didn't have any brothers and sisters, and she told me, "So you love me every day." So it took me a few years to figure that one out. Well, as I got older, I inquired my mother. She didn't want it. Fortunately, I had my mom around until she was 93, so in 2005 she passed. Yes, she taught me well, and my dad taught me well. I lost my dad in 1989. But they taught me how to live in segregated times. And yeah, they were a child, you don't know the difference. And even as a young adult, it doesn't make any difference whether you like it or you don't like it. That's the situation you had to live in and live under. So you live with the situation, and that's how I survived it. Now, to get into the good stuff, as I said, I became a young mom at the age of 15. I got pregnant somewhere between my 8th grade year and my 9th grade year, and my dad decided that I was going to get married. So yes, I had a shotgun wedding. My oldest child, when she was born, I turned 15 in February. She was born in May. So this coming May 1st, I will have a 64-year-old daughter. So it's kind of hard for me to say that I'm 50, huh? But then I had another kid, which was my son. He's now 60, going to be 63. And I have to make you laugh. There's a little story behind this. And we used to exchange so if she had a baby first and I had mine, she would vice versa. But on this occasion, I think it was on a Thursday morning, and I was washing all of his clothes because my dad wouldn't let me use the washing machine, so I was doing washing. And I didn't realize how far in labor I was. I kept having these pains, and I wouldn't stop. And my uncle was home with me. Poor thing, I put him through some. I washed all the clothes. I hung them out on the line, and finally he convinced me that I needed to go to the hospital. So I said, "Okay, get the landlord to come bring me." So he brought me, and I think it caused the poor landlord to never take us to the hospital because but he was born there, and when I got back home the next day, they took me
Sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble. Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there when they pierced him in the side? Were you there when they pierced him in Sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble. Were you there when they pierced him in the side? Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Round about the mountain, round about the mountain, my God's ruling until rising his arm. Round about the mountain, round about the mountain. Sometimes it causes me to sometimes